Respected hearts listening right now, this conversation is not about shame, not about fear, and not about silence. It is about truth, safety, and self-respect. Because the first time you choose intimacy should never steal your power, it should awaken it. Let me speak to you like someone who has lived, learned, fallen, and stood back up with scars that turned into lessons. The world talks endlessly about sex, but almost never about understanding. People whisper about first-time experiences as if they are secrets meant to confuse you, frighten you, or rush you into decisions you are not ready for. I want to slow this moment down. I want to tell you something deeply human. Your first time is not a performance. It is not a test of worth. It is not something you owe to anyone. It is a choice, and like every powerful choice in life, it deserves knowledge, comfort, and consent. Growing up, many of us were taught silence. Don't ask. Don't talk. Don't feel. And that silence became dangerous. Because when you don't understand your body, someone else can control the story. When you don't understand consent, pressure starts sounding like love. When you don't understand safety, fear becomes your first experience instead of connection. I want you to know this clearly. Curiosity about your body is not weakness. Wanting comfort is not being dramatic. Asking questions does not make you impure. It makes you informed. The first time is emotional long before it is physical. Your mind is racing. Am I ready? Will it hurt? Will I be judged? Will I regret this? These questions don't mean you're scared. They mean you're aware. Awareness is power. Anyone who truly respects you will never rush you past your comfort. Anyone who cares about you will listen when you say slow down, stop, or not yet. And the most important voice you must listen to is your own. Your body communicates constantly through tension, breath, ease, and discomfort. Respecting yourself means paying attention to those signals. Safety is not just about protection, it is about peace of mind. Feeling safe with someone means you can speak without fear, pause without guilt, and change your mind without punishment. There is nothing romantic about pain you didn't agree to or silence you were forced into. True intimacy feels calm even when it's intense. It feels mutual even when it's new. And if something doesn't feel right, that feeling matters more than expectations, traditions, or pressure. Let's talk about myths, because myths destroy confidence. The first time does not have to be painful. Fear and tension cause pain, not intimacy itself. Bleeding does not define anything about your value or your body. Virginity is not a physical object that breaks. It is a social idea that has been misused to control and judge. Your body is not a proof of anything. It is yours. And no experience, first or last, ever decides your worth as a human being. Comfort begins before anything physical happens. It begins with conversation, with trust, with knowing you can laugh, breathe, and be yourself. It begins with understanding that intimacy is not about copying what you've seen online or heard from others. Those images are edited, rushed, and unrealistic. Real connection is slower. It's imperfect. It involves checking in, learning each other, and sometimes stopping just to breathe and smile. That is not awkward. That is real. Correct knowledge protects you from regret. Knowing how your body works helps you make choices instead of guesses. Understanding boundaries helps you say yes honestly and no confidently. Education is not encouragement, it is protection. And when you are informed, you stop being afraid of the unknown and start trusting yourself. I want you to hear this with your whole heart. You do not need to rush your life to keep someone interested. You do not need to sacrifice comfort to prove love. The right experience will not leave you feeling small, confused, or ashamed. It will leave you feeling respected, present, and more connected to yourself than before. And if you are not there yet, that is not failure, that is wisdom. This conversation is about reclaiming your narrative, about choosing awareness over fear, consent over pressure, and self-respect over silence. Your first time should be guided by knowledge, grounded in comfort, and protected by safety, because you deserve experiences that add to your life, not ones you have to heal from. There is something no one tells you when they talk about the first time, and it's this: your body remembers how it was treated. It remembers whether it was rushed or respected, whether it was listened to or ignored. Long after the moment passes, what stays with you is not the details, but the feeling. That's why comfort matters more than courage. You don't need to be brave to cross a line. You need to be honest to stand in your truth. Many people confuse silence with agreement. They think not saying no means yes. But real consent is alive. It breathes. It speaks. It can change its mind. You are allowed to say yes slowly. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to stop halfway and decide you want something different or nothing at all. That does not make you confusing. That makes you human. And anyone who cannot respect that does not deserve access to you, not to your body, not to your time, not to your energy. I want to talk to you about pressure because pressure wears many disguises. Sometimes it sounds like love. Sometimes it sounds like obligation. Sometimes it sounds like everyone else is doing it, or if you don't, I'll leave. None of those are intimacy. Intimacy never threatens. It never manipulates. It never uses fear of loss as motivation. The moment you feel cornered, something sacred has already been lost. And walking away from that is not weakness. It is self-respect in action. Safety also means understanding consequences without panic. Knowing about protection, health, and boundaries is not about killing the mood. It's about protecting your future. Peace of mind is attractive. Responsibility is powerful. When you understand how to take care of yourself, you stop depending on someone else to decide for you. Knowledge gives you choice, and choice gives you freedom. There is also an emotional side no one prepares you for. Sometimes the first time creates attachment. Sometimes it creates confusion. Sometimes it creates clarity. None of these reactions are wrong. What matters is that you don't abandon yourself afterward. If you feel vulnerable, honor that. If you feel nothing, honor that too. You do not owe anyone a reaction that fits their expectations. Your inner experience is valid, even when it doesn't match the story you were told it should. Let's also release the lie that pleasure is something you must earn by enduring discomfort. Enjoyment is not selfish. Wanting gentleness is not asking too much. Your comfort is not secondary to someone else's desire. Mutual care is the foundation of any healthy experience. When both people are attentive, patient, and emotionally present, the moment becomes shared rather than taken. You are allowed to prepare yourself mentally. You are allowed to set boundaries before the moment even arrives. You are allowed to say, this is what I'm comfortable with and this is what I'm not. These conversations don't ruin intimacy, they create it. Clarity builds trust, and trust transforms nervousness into connection. And if you've already had a first experience that didn't feel right, hear me clearly now. That moment does not define you. You are not broken. You are not late. You are not behind. Healing is not about erasing the past. It's about learning to treat yourself better moving forward. Every experience can become wisdom if you choose growth over guilt. This journey is about reclaiming your body as a place of safety, not fear. About learning that intimacy begins with self-awareness and ends with self-respect. When you understand that, the first time stops being a scary milestone and becomes just one moment in a long, meaningful relationship with yourself. There comes a moment in everyone's life when you realize that confidence is not loud, it is calm. It is the quiet, knowing that you are allowed to choose yourself even when the world expects you to shrink. When it comes to your first time, that calm confidence is your greatest protection. Not experience, not age. Not what you've seen or heard. Confidence grows from knowing your limits and honoring them without apology. So many people enter intimacy carrying expectations that were never theirs to begin with. Expectations from culture, from friends, from media, from stories that glorify intensity but ignore care. And when reality doesn't match those fantasies, people blame themselves. They think something is wrong with them. But nothing is wrong with you. Reality is simply more human than the performance you were shown. The truth is, intimacy is a skill, not an instinct. It is learned through communication, patience, and presence. No one is magically perfect the first time, and anyone who pretends otherwise is performing, not connecting. Real connection involves nervous laughter, pauses, and moments of checking in. Those moments are not interruptions, they are signs of respect. Let's talk about your relationship with your own body, because that relationship begins long before you share it with anyone else. If you have been taught to feel ashamed of your curiosity, you may disconnect from your own sensations. If you have been taught to stay silent, you may struggle to express needs. Relearning trust with yourself is part of the journey. Listening to your breath, noticing tension, giving yourself permission to slow down. This is not indulgence, it is awareness. Comfort also means knowing that intimacy does not have to look the same for everyone. There is no universal timeline, no correct order, no standard script. What feels right for you may not feel right for someone else, and that is okay. Comparison steals peace. Your experience is valid because it is yours. I want to say something important about empowerment. Empowerment is not doing what others expect you to do boldly. Empowerment is doing what aligns with you quietly. Sometimes that means saying yes with confidence. Sometimes it means saying no with grace. Sometimes it means saying not now and trusting that the right moment does not need to be forced. And if fear shows up, don't judge it. Fear is often a signal asking for more information, more reassurance, or more time. Instead of pushing past it, listen to it. Ask yourself what you need to feel safer. A conversation, clear boundaries, more trust, or simply waiting. None of these choices make you weak. They make you self-aware. There is also strength in understanding that intimacy should never cost you your peace. If you walk away from an experience feeling disconnected from yourself, something was missing. And that missing piece is not desire, it is care. Care for your body. Care for your emotions. Care for your future self who will remember how you treated yourself in this moment. When you approach your first time with correct knowledge, you stop fearing the unknown and start respecting the process. You stop chasing approval and start choosing alignment. You stop seeing intimacy as something that happens to you and start experiencing it as something you participate in consciously. This is how power looks when it's real. It doesn't shout. It doesn't rush. It doesn't prove anything. It simply stands firm in the truth that you deserve safety, comfort, and respect in every experience you allow into your life. At some point, the conversation shifts from what you've been told to what you choose to believe. This is where growth happens. This is where you stop outsourcing your worth to opinions and start owning your story. Your first time, like many firsts in life, is not meant to be perfect. It is meant to be honest. Honest with your emotions. Honest with your boundaries. Honest with your readiness. There is a quiet strength in choosing presence over performance. In staying connected to yourself instead of trying to meet an invisible standard. When you are present, you notice when your body relaxes and when it tightens. You notice when your heart feels safe and when it feels guarded. Those signals are not obstacles, they are guidance. They are your inner compass reminding you that you matter. Comfort grows when you feel seen, not evaluated, not rushed. Sin. That kind of connection cannot be forced, and it cannot be faked. It comes from mutual respect and patience. From understanding that intimacy is not a finish line, but a conversation that unfolds moment by moment. When both people are attentive, there is room for softness, reassurance, and trust to deepen naturally. Correct knowledge also teaches you compassion for yourself and others. It reminds you that everyone is learning. That mistakes don't make you unworthy, they make you human. What defines you is not a single moment, but how you care for yourself afterward. Do you speak kindly to yourself, or do you carry unnecessary shame? Do you learn, or do you punish yourself? Growth always begins with kindness. If you're standing on the edge of this experience, unsure and thoughtful, know this readiness is not the absence of fear. Readiness is the presence of self-respect. It's the ability to say, I choose this because it feels right for me, not because I'm afraid of losing someone or being judged. That clarity is powerful. It keeps you grounded no matter what unfolds. And if you've already crossed that threshold and you're reflecting now, give yourself grace. Reflection is not regret. It is awareness. Awareness allows you to make different choices, set stronger boundaries, and seek healthier connections in the future. Your past does not trap you. It teaches you. Life is a series of moments where you learn to trust yourself more deeply. This is one of those moments. When you choose safety over silence, comfort over pressure, and knowledge over fear, you are not just preparing for an experience. You are building a relationship with yourself that will shape every connection that follows. This is what empowerment really feels like. Calm, clear, grounded. It is knowing that your body is yours, your choices are yours, and your timeline is yours. No one gets to rush your becoming. No one gets to define your worth.